Jones of Mars, Katmatui of Gorgar, Ronnie Raymond of Earth, Al Bratt of Earth, Jenny Lynn Naden, Arthur Curry, Carter Hall, Kendra Saunders, Ted Gord, Arani Desai, Paco Ramon, Hank Haywood, David Knight, Erwin Bowen, Wesley Dodds, Charles McNider, Terry Sloan, Tara Markov.
"10 years ago, a crashing wave of light erupted across the DC universe. A multicolored spectrum of energy bathed the cosmos in a war of light. Rage clashed against passion. Hope sought to stifle fear. Greed to choke out compassion. And in the middle of it all, the will to keep going and fight for all. Now this war has come to the surface of our planet, because while the light fights, the darkness rises." Hero, villain, friend, foe, family. Across the universe, the dead have risen, and it's going to take every available podcaster to fight back. In 2016, we covered the dawn of the Justice League with Justice League Year 1. In 2017, we soaked in the seminal Justice. Last year, we threw it back to the Silver Age. But this year's JLMay podcast event covers an event that knows not the boundaries of death itself. JLMay covers Blackest Night in celebration of the event's 10-year anniversary. Our coverage begins on April 30th with the podcast of Oa and proceeds through the entire month of May with Chris and Reggie's Cosmic Treadmill, the Idol Head of Diablou, the Fire and Water Podcast, Head Speaks, Coffee and Comics Podcast, Longbox Crusade, Waiting for Doom, Task Force X, the Starman Manhunter Adventure Hour, the Dr. DC Podcast, the Birds of Prey Podcast, Justice's First Dawn, and ends with the Lantern Cast. So join us this May, because across the DC universe, the dead have risen. Where will you be?
Behold the voice of God.
For those of you who don't know me officially, my name is Amanda Waller.
And I am Aaron Moss, your host of Task Force X.
What, we some kind of suicide squad?
Well, yeah, that and
Checkmate.
Task Force X is a podcast that tells the stories of John Ostrander's Suicide Squad and Paul Kupperberg's Checkmate from the late 80s, early 90s.
I want to build a team of some bad people who can do some good.
And that's what Suicide Squad is. While Checkmate is a team of good people doing some good. My mission here is to chronicle each and every title in all the books that Suicide Squad and Checkmate appeared in during that era.
We're the U.S. government. You're going to start a blog and expose us?
Well, a blog and a headcast, Amanda.
Those scumbags are trying to screw me.
Not at all, Amanda. Just trying to help everyone else discover the joy of the Suicide Squad and Checkmate. Anywho, hope you guys have as much fun with these comics as I did when I first read them. Oh, so many years ago.
Mother...
That's enough of that, Amanda. Let's go and start the show.
I didn't believe the stories.
Nobody does. Remember, I'm watching. I see everything.
So welcome back to Task Force X with episode 45. Yes, this is the first Tuesday of the month, hopefully if I get this out on time, instead of the third Tuesday. The reason for that is that I've been asked to join a spectacular crossover. It's every year a group of guys, podcasters, get together and do a special JLMay crossover looking at different parts of the Justice League America. This year, they're looking at the Blackest Night crossover, and I've been asked to join them. So this is my entry into the Blackest Night crossover. Before I get to that, though, let me tell you about some stuff you need to know. First off, before you listen to this episode any further, pause this, and you need to go listen to a couple of other podcasts first. Check out the podcast of OA, which is looking at the Blackest Night number 0. And they're also going to be looking at just Green Lantern number 43. Then when you're done with that one, head over and look for it's Chris and Reggie's Cosmic Treadmill, as they're covering Blackest Night number 1. The Idol Head of Diablou is looking at Blackest Night number 2, and they're also going to look at Green Lantern number 44. Then for Blackest Night number 3, you're going to watch or go listen to the Fire and Water podcast. Check out those 4 shows. Then come back here, and we're going to talk about Suicide Squad number 67, and we're also going to look at the Secret Six, issues 17 and 18, which were side books to the storyline, tied into it. And then when I'm done talking about this issue, we'll tell you about what else we need to look at. So, got the preliminaries done. Like I said, pause now, go listen to those shows I told you about. The podcast of OA, Chris and Reggie Cosmic Treadmill, the Idol Head of Diablou, and the Fire and Water podcast. Then come back here and check out this show. Go ahead, go. I'm waiting. You back? Did you enjoy those episodes? Right on. I'm sure there's some great episodes there. Now, before we start this actual issue and this episode proper, for my fellow squad mates that's been along with me on this journey, you know, the Suicide Squad we looked at was issue 30. 31 was due this month, but due to the crossover I'm involved with, I've pushed it back another month. So this issue we're actually looking at is actually going to be issue 67 of Suicide Squad. Suicide Squad ran for 66 issues, and then they canceled it. They had some other books coming here and there. But in 2010, during the Blackest Night crossover, they revived a lot of books for one issue and carried on with the next sequence title, or sequence number. So we get Suicide Squad 67, which we're going to look at today. But before we look at that, just a brief overview of Blackest Night. And I'm going to read this from the Wikipedia entry on Blackest Night, just because it's easier to read this instead of trying to recap it myself, because I tend to recap things either real quick or in depth. So Blackest Night is a 2009 through 2010 comic book crossover by DC Comics, consisting of a central miniseries written by Jeff Johns and penciled by Ivan Reis, and a number of tie-in books. Blackest Night involves Necron, a personified force of death who reanimates deceased superheroes and seeks to eliminate all life and emotion from the universe. Jeff Johns has identified the series' central theme as emotion. The crossover was published for 8 months as a limited series, and in both Green Lantern and Green Lantern Corps titles. Various other limited series and tie-ins, including an audio drama from Darker Projects, was published. So that's just a brief overview of Blackest Night. Like I said, hopefully you guys went back and listened to those first 4 episodes that I referred to. That way you know what's going on up to this point. And we're going to go ahead and get started with this issue. So basically what you need to know by this point is that Necron, via Black Hand, is bringing deceased superheroes and supervillains back to life and trying to use them to basically destroy the world, destroy all life and light in the world. So let's go ahead and get started with this actual issue. So this is Suicide Squad number 67. The cover date was March of 2010. The on sale date was January the 6th of 2010. The cover price was $2.99. The title of this issue is called Dance Macabre, Part 1. Written by Gail Simone and our old buddy John Ostrander. Artist was Jim Califor. Letterer Stephen Wands. Colorist Jason Wright. Editor Sean Ryan. And the cover credits was Daniel Luvisi. I'm probably mispronouncing that. And this was reprinted in Secret 6, try that again in English. Secret 6, Dance Macabre trade paperback in 2010. And also apparently in Secret 6, Cat's Cradle trade paperback, 2015. Before I continue, I guess this should be obvious since I did mention this takes place after the series. Since this does take place after the final issue of our Suicide Squad that we're reading, there's going to be spoilers abound in here for things that may happen within the book, within the series. So you've been forewarned that, if you're listening to this episode, you may get some spoilers for things we're going to be talking about in upcoming months and years. So let's get started with our synopsis. Our story starts with the Fiddler, which is a Golden Age Flash villain, narrating his death at the hands of Deadshot. Him, plus a host of other supervillains, rise from the dead in the Justice League tombs. The Fiddler said that after they take the heroes out at the base, they need to go after the Secret Six or the Suicide Squad, wherever Deadshot hangs his holster. 72 hours earlier, we have the Suicide Squad attacking a ranch in Mexico. Yasmin, Deadshot's replacement, is going through killing people until she believes she is outnumbered and calls retreat. Realizing that she needs Deadshot, Waller decides to re-recruit him. Back at present time, we meet members of the Secret Six as Scandal's date arrives at the House of Secrets. Quick backstory, the House of Secrets is where the Secret Six is living. A member of the Secret Six is Deadshot at this point. The team consists, the Secret Six books was being written by Gail Simone, and we'll get to the Secret Six book here in a little bit. The team consists of Bane, Scandal, Ragdoll, Black Alice, Deadshot, as I mentioned, and a woman named Jeanette. After Scandal leaves for a date, Deadshot tells the team that they have a mission from their leader, Mockingbird. The team has to break into Bel Rev to free a drug dealer to reunite him with his family. So as they're breaking in, Black Alice causes a distraction so the team can break in. Back at the House of Secrets, Waller shows up with Multiplex to take the Six down so she can take Deadshot back. Again, back at Bel Rev, there are some fights. Deadshot gets to the room that Erie, which is the drug dealer, is staying in. When the door opens, we see Rick Flag telling Deadshot that Waller wants him back on the team. So Deadshot promptly shoots Rick Flag. As he leaves, he's confronted by Yasmin, who wants to have a duel with him. As she starts to count to 3, Deadshot shoots her dead, and then is knocked out by Flag, who isn't so dead. Meanwhile, in Bel Rev's crypt, villains continue to rise. To be continued. So now for the title, or the cover page, as I normally start out, the cover, that's what it's called. Starting out the cover we normally do, we get our Blackest Night logo at the top, Suicide Squad like normal, and we see the Fiddler looking zombified. Most of his face is just skin and bones and skeletal remains. He's got long blonde or white hair. He's got a fiddle up fiddling. We get some deadly music in the background. And in front of him we have Amanda Waller. We have Bronze Tiger with his tiger head on, and Deadshot. And then we see some fire in between Bronze Tiger and Deadshot, with some fiery musical notes around it. It's a great cover. Like I said, it looks like maybe it's a painted cover, but yeah, for being a Blackest Night crossover, it's a great cover. I enjoy this. It kind of tells us that the Fiddler's in the background, and that he's going to be trying to control Amanda, Bronze Tiger, and Deadshot is what I get out of this. And then we move on to the story itself. We start out, as I said, with the Fiddler, kind of giving his backstory. I like this middle of the page here on page 1. We see the Fiddler playing his music, the swirling music sounds around him. And we get both Barry and Jay running it from opposite ends. Then below that, we get a panel of the Secret Six with Deadshot amongst them. And then, we get a close-up of Deadshot with his shooting Fiddler with his wrist gun. And then below that, we see the Suicide Squad. We get Amanda as she's appearing nowadays. Before she wore mostly like regular clothes. Now she wears more like a uniform thing. I'm not supposed to call it, but I'm an old man. I prefer old stuff. I prefer the older look for Amanda. This isn't bad. This is better than when they draw her skinny and attractive. But I don't know. It makes Amanda look... It's like it's putting Amanda on a leash or something. I don't know. It's not a horrible design. It's just... I can't describe it. It looks odd on Amanda. I guess that's what it is. And then the next page, we get the Green Lantern, the Black Lightning rings. It says memory download complete, and then it says the person's name. In this case, Erwin Bowen of Earth. Rise, and that's what it brings them forth. And here on this second page, we see the Fiddler, and out of the tombs, we see come crawling Copperhead. I'm not sure that guy at the top. If you're looking at this page with me, the top right-hand side, is that maybe Obsidian, maybe? Some people, it's kind of hard to tell in the darker clothes. I think this looks like, down below here, just the glasses and this bald head, looks a bit like a mummified or a zombified Hugo Strange. I'm not sure he's dead at this point. We get Dr. Light, who is a regular in our book. In current stories, we get Deathstorm. We get, I'm not sure who that is. Maxwell Lord, probably, now that I think about it. I think Maxwell Lord between Doctors, maybe. I'm not sure. Again, here on the next page, again, these pages aren't numbered, so I'm just kind of guessing. I see page 4, it looks like. We see the Fiddler, he's got his fiddle, and we got the music swirling around him like we showed on that previous page when he's fighting the Flashes. Not quite poster-worthy, but it's a very nice page. We get some stuff going on around it. We get him talking to Deathstorm. And this is where I talked about in the synopsis that, afterwards, the Squad of the Six, where Deadshot walks, the ripest fruit should be plucked first. And so again, this whole Blackest Night thing is basically a DC zombie story. But in here, in like Walking Dead and most zombie stories, the zombies can't speak. So again, I do like Deathstorm. Again, I'm a big Firestorm fan, as I know I've mentioned a few times. So I do like the look of Deathstorm. It's a great look. I've got that figure. I like his eyes and his skull lights up with the fire from within him. Just great scenes. And then we go back, as I said, 72 hours earlier, we get Count Vertigo, Nightshade, Multiplex, Rick Flag, Bronze Tiger, fighting these guys down in Mexico, I believe it was, yeah. And for some reason, I don't think it's ever said Bronze Tiger has gone back to his tiger mask that he hasn't worn in a while. And then we're introduced to the new Deadshot, in quotes, Yasmin. And again, we get, as she's going through killing these people, we get some flashbacks of Amanda Waller giving them the briefing. She says the camp isn't the primary target. They're going after Mateo Guzman, likes to call himself Santa Muerte, the Saint of Death. Camp Commandant, number 3 in the Zeta hierarchy. He needs to die. So we got 3 different things going on here. We get Yasmin going through shooting the bad guys. We get Amanda Waller giving a recap of their mission. And in the meantime, we get Yasmin's thoughts as she was talking. She was caught in a prison, fell in the jurisdiction of a woman, a terrible, terrifying woman by the name of Amanda Waller. And now I'm given a choice. Either work fulfilling this insane woman's bloody agenda, or she detonates the explosive chip she had implanted in my skull. And though I'm ashamed to say it, as afraid as I am of death, I find I am more afraid of her. I love that description of Yasmin, of Amanda Waller. Because to me, that's what Amanda Waller kind of sums up. That, death may be frightening, the unknown may be frightening, but Amanda Waller's there to kick your butt if you don't listen to her. I just love her thought process, and we're getting her thoughts on this. And then from flashback, we get Rick asking about, he's like, Yasmin, what about Deadshot? Or wouldn't he come? Waller's like, not needed, not wanted. And you get back to Yasmin's thoughts. She's like, officially this team she spit me on, they call themselves Task Force X. But in my circles, they go by another name, the Suicide Squad. And then we're in Bel Rev. We see a bunch of corpses in tubes. We see, again, you can't quite make out because it's in the shadows. Can't really make out any of these people. One of them looks like, maybe a little like Vixen. Or somebody else is racing later on. But yeah, Rick's, he's calling. He's like, knew it. She simply isn't experienced enough. Not actually prepare for an evacuation. Get us out of here. Waller will not be pleased. And when King Faraday comes in, who's a part of the whole Checkmate Suicide Squad at this point, lets her know that, the mission went sideways. Waller's like, let me guess, he has been screwed up. She's not deadpan, I told you that. Amanda's like, no, Deadshot doesn't care what shot he's on. Getting killed doesn't bother him. And again, they have a little discussion about how Deadshot's not coming back. Amanda broke him when she exiled him to the off-planet with other villains. And I believe that was during the miniseries called Salvation Run, where a bunch of villains were beamed off Earth onto another planet. And that's some wacky misadventures before they came back. And so again, after King Faraday tells her no, Deadshot's not coming back. She's like, the hell with that, King. He doesn't get to tell me no. And again, Amanda Waller's very much stubborn. She's very much in her own place. She wants what she wants when she wants it. And if you disagree with her, tough cookies. And again, as we talked about in the synopsis, we get some Scandal's girlfriend or date, whoever this is, meets Bane. Again, at this point, Bane is part of the Secret Six. He's not quite a bad guy. He's not quite a good guy. He's Bane. He's on this team with, Ragdoll keeps interrupting him. And again, Ragdoll keeps interrupting. He's like, hello again, Leanna. I must see you look lovely with clothes on. Or Bane, dear. Friendly, well-meaning Bane. I know you mean well, but should you simply not let these two playful scamps enjoy their evening? And Bane's like, move or be moved. Rightio? We begin. You are a dancer? Well, yes, I work at Superior. It's very nice. And as a dancer, you'll remove your clothing. Is that correct? We'll come back to that. This movie you're going to see. What rating is it? And so Bane's, again, it's been a while since I've read The Secret Six, but from this story here, Bane's coming across very much as a father figure to Scandal, who, if I'm not mistaken, is actually the daughter of Vandal Savage, if I'm not mistaken. Again, so we get the little interaction between Scandal and Bane and the little group here. And they take off on the girlfriend's bike. What's her name again? Liana. Liana's bike, which is a pink bike. Scandal's like, it's pink. Ooh, big tough girl afraid to be seen on a girl bike? So, a little bit, yes. Scandal gets on. She's like, I'm driving. Whatever you say, baby. Back inside, Bane's like, you ought to say nothing. And then we get Deadshot, Black Alice, and Catman. They're coming in the room, letting the Bane and Ragdoll, they have a gig for Mockingbird. Again, Secret Six is a team, if I remember right, it's been a while. It was an older team. It was like a pre-crisis team that was ran by someone named Mockingbird, who, if I'm not mistaken, was originally turned out to be Alfred Pennyworth. If I'm not mistaken. If any of my listeners out there is more familiar with Secret Six, let me know. But I believe it was by Alfred Pennyworth. Was moonlighting as Mockingbird. They've redid the team in the current DC universe. Well, this current DC universe. And at this point, we don't know who Mockingbird is. We'll find that out. But again, that's just a team of supervillains that's been banded together to do what needs to be done. I need to reread this series. I don't know if they were doing good, bad, a little bit of both. But again, they're on a mission. And so we're the next day, this jet's flying over Louisiana, and Scandal's complaining that she should be in the field. And basically we're getting the backstory that they're looking for Christos Erie, who apparently is in Bel Rev. Well, actually, we don't know this yet. We just, at this point, they're going after Christosos Erie. And he's in prison in Louisiana. Louisiana has the death penalty. He says he's ready to die. but his family wants him back. So apparently his family has hired the Suicide Squad. Or I'm sorry, try that again. His family's hired the Secret Six to rescue Christos Yuri from jail. And again, so they're landing, and Catman's like, "Good luck to us all." And Deadshot's like, "I know this place. It's a little crap hole. Step wrong, you're dead. Just saying." And then we get him outside the fence. We see Bell Rev in the background. And then we get Floyd sitting there with his mask half up going, "Enclave M, Alcatraz, Devil's Island, and now Bell Rev. Why do all our jobs have us breaking into prisons? We doing this thing or we never?" And Ragdoll, "Well, I'm already dressed, Mr. Floyd." And again, Ragdoll is a very wacky, wild, not quite with reality type character. He's interesting. And so they want to break in. Yeah, Deadshot's all, "Well, we need his distraction. There ain't no way getting in there unseen. Maybe the cat, but the rest of us never." And Ragdoll's like, "Ooh, a distraction. I'll do it, shall I?" And May's like, "No, the girl, Black Alice." I wasn't listening. Someone takes a distraction. And apparently Black Alice can borrow, we'll call it, the abilities from other supers. She does make a mention that she has the magical power of, let me see. She has the ability to steal the magical powers of others. So I guess she magical powers, but she's borrowing Gigantus powers here. So I'm not sure if the current DC was Gigantus powers magical or the way she's phrased that's incorrect. I'm not sure. Because to me, the way she's talking, she can steal magical powers. And she says she's stealing Gigantus powers, so she's a giant goth chick at this point. And like here on page 14, I think it is, Black Alice is ripping the fence out, and all of a sudden these machine guns at the bottom of their feet go off, and Deadshot's like, "I correctly mentioned about the sub-level atomic machine guns." Catman's like, "Did you? Well, as long as you feel bad about it." I love the banter between these two. It's great. Yeah. One of the security guys come running in. He's like, "What the hell? What's out the perimeter alarms?" Yeah, well, I think it's giant goth chick, Lieutenant." As they're going through the perimeter, Catman's like, "This way. There's a hole in the spray pattern." And Ragdoll's like, "Now who sounds completely filthy, Thomas?" And again, Thomas is Thomas Blake. That's Catman's real name. Catman's an old Batman villain who was like a C-rate villain. But I believe the Secret Six kind of brought him back to the current mindset. And he kind of upped him a little bit and made him a little bit more of a more formidable, not more formidable, but a little more, shined a spotlight on Catman where he's been kind of ignored in the past, I think. I don't know if there's any Catman fans out there listening. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's what I believe. And again, the artwork in I haven't really talked much about the artwork. I'm really enjoying the artwork in this. Again, it's Suicide Squad, so I do love me some Suicide Squad, as we all know from listening to this show. The artwork, it's a little more four color than what the Suicide Squad used to be, if I remember right. Again, I just read it last month. Well, actually, I guess it was 2 months ago. Because last month we had the commentary track for the Suicide Squad movie, but yeah, it looks a little more, again, the Suicide Squad changed here and there, but this was a little more superhero-y than Suicide Squad normally was. But I enjoy this. I enjoy the superhero look, the four-color aspects, as I've talked about. So I enjoy the artwork in this. Here on page 16, we catch up with Amanda Waller with a buttload of multiplexes invading the House of Secrets. Again, like I mentioned this earlier, the House of Secrets is the home base for the Secret Six. It's related to the House of Mystery. They both were at one time ran by Cain and Abel from biblical fame. And again, so Amanda Waller, she shows up. She's like, "I need Lawton. Be first play with you. Well, I'm taking it back and I'm shutting the rest of you down. The Six have been allowed to roam free to get all together too long as it is. I'm done playing." And we switch back to Bell Rev. And we get Count Vertigo, as I talked about, taking out Black Alice. And then we go inside and we get some battles going on in here. And we see Nightshade and I forget her name now. We'll find out here in just a minute. The gal with the fiddle. And his Deadshot's taken off to go find the target. He's telling Bane, wait, don't. That one chick, she's bad, big guy. And Bane's like, go. And Ragdoll's like, is this really a date? Hang on. Are they just mocking us? I'd like a nice date. And then Nightshade starts using her powers on Bane. And then Ragdoll's facing off against the guy with the fiddle. He's like, I don't like to hurt children. Well, in fact, I do, but may I just suggest that you put away your little ukulele or whatever it is and go home, darling. He's like, it's a fair proposal. Let me play my answer monstrous thing. She starts playing her fiddle, and again, she's a new version of the fiddler. Yeah, I got her name here somewhere, but I forget what it is right offhand. But yeah, we got some fighting going on here, and Ragdoll gets taken down by the fiddler player. And he's like screaming. Jeanette's like, what was that? Kevin's like, Ragdoll, go from Jeanette. I have something to do. And so we get Catman facing off against Bronze Tiger. Again, Bronze Tiger's wearing his big cat tiger head. And I like this. He's like, Bronze Tiger's like, you know who I am? And Catman's like, yeah, I've heard of you. So, you know, there's only two ways for you. If you stay, hospital or the morgue. If you stay. And Catman jumps, this is here on page 20, it looks like. Catman and Bronze Tiger just sleeping each other, classic head-on-head battle. Catman's like, what the hell? I could use a rest. I just love this image of Bronze Tiger. Again, I don't care much for the tiger head on him. It looks like that would be, and again, I know I'm talking about comic books. Maybe a little silly about complaining about it, but I've never cared much for the tiger head on Bronze Tiger. I prefer him without the tiger head. It looks like it's a little unwieldy, a little hard to fight with, I would think. But again, it's comic books. We can accept that, I guess. And in the meantime, we get the bottom panel. We get some catch up on the House of Mystery or House of Secrets. We get Amanda Waller. She's got like a buttload of dead shots around her, and then some have got flamethrowers. And she's like, she's tough. Bring the cellar in and burn this damn shack to the ground. Again, a very Amanda Waller thing to do. As I talk about the synopsis, Deadshot breaks into the room where Yuri's supposed to be held, and we get Flag. And Deadshot sees Flag, and then he's like, crap, should have guessed. Nice fake out, Flag. Flag's like, Waller wants you for a mission, Deadshot. You can see the special invite. You going to cooperate? And Deadshot just shoots him, just blam! Rick falls, and like, no, but thanks for asking. And he goes out, he meets Yasmin, and she's like, Deadshot, I am Yasmin, a killer like yourself. Or perhaps a little bit less than yourself. Some might say, we will decide this, you and I, on the count of 3. 1, and Deadshot's like, blam, just shoots her in the chest. She falls dead. And Deadshot's like, take the shot you got, lady. And again, Yasmin, as Shag would say, is hot. She's got this gown on, kind of low cut. And Deadshot shoots her right between her bountiful mounds. But as he shoots her, like I said, Rick wasn't dead. He was wearing a bulletproof armor or whatever over his chest. He knocks Deadshot out and he's like, let me see. Deadshot's telling her, you take the shot you got, lady. And Rick knocks him out and says, you got that right. Now he's make sure of the kill. So again, Rick Flag knew he was going up against Deadshot, knew he was going to try to corral Deadshot, and knew that, well, Deadshot would go for the shot, would go for the kill. So he made sure, body armor. Lucky for him, Deadshot went for a chest shot, because again, those are easier to make, instead of a headshot, because the armor doesn't protect his head. And then outside of Bel Rev, we get the zombie fiddler flying overhead, a bunch of black lantern rings floating around, flush, flush, flush. And then we get dead people rising. We get Anastasia Corvo of Earth, Vanessa Kingsbury of Earth, Gail Marsh of Earth, Angel Moore of Earth, Clyde Phillips of Earth. Those I'm not quite sure of offhand. I'd have to look and see. Then we get Adam Cray of Earth. Adam Cray, I think we're going to find out here in this couple books. He is a successor to the Atom. I don't want to say too much more about that because he'll play heavily into the future of the Suicide Squad we're reading. Again, as I said, these are kind of spoilers. Ravon of Earth, Rise. And that's where our issue ends. I love this ending page where we get these squad people, these ex-Suicide Squad members rising from the dead, becoming Black Lanterns. And I had to look up real quick because I didn't recognize these names, so I had to see who they were real quick. Vanessa Kingsbury is Shrike. She's the one that's on the cover that looked a bit, or earlier on, wherever it was, when they were experimenting. We saw someone that looked like Vixen. That was Shrike. She was in the Suicide Squad early on. Anastasio Corvo is the real name of Manticore. Again, we talked about Manticore back in the early issues of the Suicide Squad. He was part of the Jihad. Gail Marsh is her superhero name is Psy. I don't know if she showed up in the Suicide Squad or not, or when, but she was a Supergirl villain. Angel Moore is an alias for Mindboggler, who again was first created over in Firestorm. Yay, Firestorm! And then she showed up in the first issues of Suicide Squad, was killed because of Captain Boomerang, and became Ifriti, and joined up with the Suicide Squad later. And then Clyde Phillips is Punch, of Punch and Julie fame, who, in current readings where we're at, is a member of the Suicide Squad. So again, this has some spoilers. We need some team members going to die. Suicide Squad, of course. It's just a matter of when and how. And again, I recognize Raven. I recognize Adam Cray. I recognize Shrike back there. I almost didn't see her beneath this other guy. But yeah, the guy in the front, I'm not sure if that's supposed to be Punch or if that's Manticore, because it doesn't look like either one there. We see this woman crawling out of a case who's Vanessa Kingsbury is next to her name, but that's Shrike down at the bottom. So maybe that's Gail Marsh, who's Psy. I'm not familiar with her. And yeah, the Anastasio whatever Corvo is right next to the guy who's, I assume that's Manticore's human form. Angel Moore is I don't see Mindboggler here. That's right next to this one chick who doesn't look like a Mindboggler I remember seeing. But again, they're zombie versions of these people. So again, overall, I enjoyed this book. I enjoyed this last page where I'm talking about. We get our Dance Macabre part 1. The writers was Gail Simone and John Oster, as I talked about. In the background, we see a Manhunter robot standing there. Again, it's a very nice scene. Again, if you like zombies, you like superheroes, this Blackest Night definitely takes a look at zombies in the DC universe. And the next page here tells us that this is Suicide Squad and Secret Six crossover. It tells us book 1 is Suicide Squad 67, which we just talked about. Secret Six number 17 is book 2, and Secret Six number 18 is book number 3. And we're going to be talking about all 3 of these books this episode. But enough about that. Also, real quick, next page in this, what I'm looking at anyways, has a reading order for Blackest Night. It starts out Blackest Night 0. It goes through the titles, then it goes Blackest Night 2. I missed Blackest Night 1 wasn't bolded. Blackest Night 1 there, Blackest Night 2, Blackest Night 3. And as you go through Blackest Night 3, you get Green Lantern Corps, Adventure Comics, Justice League America. You get Suicide Squad 67 and Secret Six 17 and 18. Also come with Booster Gold books. And then we get Blackest Night number 4. And this shows Starman 81 after that. Something else, official reading order I saw, Starman 81 comes out before Blackest Night. So I'm going to have to double check that, but my plan was to release my Starman Manhunter Adventure Hour, spoilers, because I'm going to tie that book into it this week also, but I'll watch for it and see if it shows up somewhere. But anyways, that's it for the Suicide Squad issue. The next book we're going to look at will be the Secret Six. But before I do that, we're going to take a quick promo break. It's been about half an hour, long enough for me to play some promos for some friends of the show. Sit back and listen.
Now we're gonna have a break. Message time we're gonna take.
To tell you the story of Green Lantern is to tell you the story of the birth of a universe. The origins of DC as a whole.
It's a magic emerald meteor from space in the 1940s.
It's the establishment of the JSA.
It's the birth of the Silver Age.
It's the introduction of a universal police force.
It's the formation of the JLA.
It's the emergence of the multiverse.
It's a crisis in both space and time.
It's an emerald dawn.
And it's an emerald twilight.
It's the brightest day.
And the blackest night.
And the Lantern cast covers all of this and everything in between. We're Green Lantern's greatest advocates and fiercest critics. We've been fans for years, and it's the reason we're self-proclaimed Lanternologists.
So find us on iTunes and Stitcher and give us a listen. Because the history of Green Lantern really is the history of the DC Universe. And we've got the interviews, commentaries, reviews, and more to back it up.
Doom Patrol.
1963.
Doom Patrol debut.
My Greatest Adventure, issue 80. 1964.
My Greatest Adventure renamed Doom Patrol.
Issue 85. 1968.
Doom Patrol Destroyed.
Issue 121. 1976.
The new Doom Patrol.
Showcase 94. 1987.
Doom Patrol Volume 2.
Kupperberg Lytle. 1989.
Morrison and Case.
Issue 19. 1993.
Pollack.
Issue 64. 2001.
Doom Patrol Volume 3.
Arkudi Hewitt. 2004.
Doom Patrol Volume 4.
Burn.
Shush.
2009.
Doom Patrol Volume 5.
Giffen Clark. 2012. 2013. 2014. 2015. 2016.
Waiting for Doom, the Doom Patrol podcast, because we're waiting.
Available on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, and Podbean.com.
Take the Earth's mightiest heroes, each an invincible champion of justice, and band them together to assemble the legendary Justice League of America. For 261 issues and 3 annuals, the DC Universe was defended from threats on Earth and beyond by this legendary team, operating from a cave in Happy Harbor to a satellite orbiting 22,300 miles above the Earth to Detroit. Justice's First Dawn, a classic Justice League of America podcast, will follow the League through all their evolutions. Please join your host, Mike Peacock, as I seek to cover all of the issues of the classic pre-crisis Justice League of America series. Through the magic of the JLA transporter, each issue will be randomized, with special episodes covering a complete story arc if needed. Along with the issue coverage, we shall also look at what the then current members of the Justice League were up to in solo appearances in other comics for the JLA Cover Month issue. So do not hesitate to activate your JLA signal device for Justice's First Dawn, a classic Justice League of America podcast on classicjla.podbean.com or by subscribing through iTunes.
Now we go back to the fun. Message time is over and done.
And welcome back from the break. Be sure to check out those other podcasts. All 3 of them are involved with the crossover with some supplemental titles. So definitely check them out. Actually, the Lantern Cast, they're looking at the Black... Well, I'll get that in a little bit. But yeah, check out those 3 podcasts. And let's carry on with my show. The next book I'm going to look at this month is Secret Six, number 17. The cover date was March of 2010. The on-sale date was January the 13th, 2010. The cover price was $2.99. The title of this story was called Dance Macabre Part 2. Once again, written by Gail Simone and John Ostrander. Artist was Jim Calafor. The letterer was Travis Lanham. Colorist Jason Wright. Editor was Sean Ryan. And the cover credits was done by Daniel Luvisi. And again, this was also reprinted in both the Secret Six Dance Macabre trade paperback in 2010 and the Secret Six Cat's Cradle trade paperback in 2015. In our synopsis, our story starts with Yasmin returning to life, that is, as a Black Lantern looking to kill Deadshot. Back at the House of Secrets, the Wall has Multiplex start burning the house to the ground to force Scandal out. What comes out instead is Dragon Man. I guess actually it's a gargoyle or something, but it's like Dragon Man from over at Marvel. Back at Bel Rev, Nightshade is fighting Bane to a standstill until Count Vertical takes Bane out. And then Black Alice uses Nightshade's powers to, basically defeat them. As the battle ends, Scandal reaches Bane and lets him know that the mission is a trap and Waller is burning the House of Secrets down. Back at Bel Rev, the Black Lanterns are killing the inmates, while Bronze Tiger and Catman fight until they both fall. Meanwhile, Virtuosa, that's the gal with the fiddle, is fighting Ragdoll and Jeanette when the Fiddler shows up to kill them all. Elsewhere, Yasmin fights Flag and Deadshot. And we end this issue with King Faraday telling Amanda Waller that they're facing Black Lanterns, and if you see them, do not engage. I repeat, do not engage. A little too late. Anyways, now for my thoughts on this issue. As I normally do, I will start with the cover. The cover of this one, we do see Catman and Bronze Tiger fighting. Again, Bronze Tiger has his big cat head on. It looks like an actual tiger is fighting Catman. Again, it's got the Blackest Night logo. Get our title, The Secret Six. The I in 6, the dot on it is a skull. That's what it's called, not death, a skull. It's, again, looks like a painted cover. Again, it's a very nice cover. Again, as I mentioned last issue, not a fan of the actual tiger's head on Bronze Tiger here. It looks like an actual tiger that he's fighting when it's actually Bronze Tiger. It's maybe metaphorical. But it's a very nice cover. I think I would kind of preferred it if it had actually been Bronze Tiger instead of this tiger creature. That's Bronze Tiger, but it looks like a tiger with the mouth open and all that. I don't know, maybe just me. Overall, it's a good cover though. It's very dynamic. It kind of shows what's going to happen in the issue without giving too much away. It's a great cover. I definitely like it. Back inside, again, we see Yasmin. Again, Deadshot kills her. I guess he's not realizing yet that they're dealing with Black Lanterns that are coming back to life. So he kills her, and the Black Lantern rings brings her back to life. Again, as it does so, it kind of shows us here how it works a little bit. It brings back memories, and that's why whenever we saw in the previous issue, when bringing back, we say memory downloaded, it kind of brings back their memories as it brings back to life. And so we're seeing the memory of Yasmin talking to Amanda Waller, basically telling her, we were on the Suicide Squad, we were taking dangerous missions, go on the mission, succeed, survive, we'll no time off your sentence. Foul up, the mission fails, no time off, try to escape, and you're dead. And so we see her on her first mission, we see Deadshot killing her. And again, so she's back with the one thought in her head that she must kill Deadshot. Again, here on the pages aren't numbered. I don't like when they don't number pages that I complain about. Page 3, we see where, like I said, that it tells us that Deadshot's a member of the Suicide Squad, now a member of the Secret Six. And kind of laying out what happened last issue. Waller wanted him to rejoin the squad, so she laid a trap. And Yasmin had to know who was better with a gun, him or her. And so she died because of that. Again, even though she's dead, she is still kind of hot looking. But maybe that's my own personal issues. Again, we move on to the story itself. I like here on the next page, which I'm going to assume is page 4. We're on the top of the House of Secrets looking down. We see Amanda Waller again in her white jumpsuit thing that, again, I'm not a big fan of. And behind her we see, again, a whole horde of multiplexes, a couple of vans. And so multiplexes on Amanda Waller's order starts burning to the ground. And again, I love, it shows these two multiplexes going off. One's finally some arson. And one's like, are you kidding? This might be murder for Lucky with a government paycheck. Let's see some taxpayers fry. And again, I love this middle of this panel here on page 5. Looks like story page 5. We see that we're at the back of the two multiplexes. They got their flamethrowers. And they're just dousing the front of this house of secrets of fire. The house is ablaze. And again, Scandal's trying to get the staff out of there. But before they go, show them some where the weapons are at. And you can hear above the scene where multiplexes are blazing the house. Scandal's talking to one of the people. She's like, does the House of Secrets have any weapons? Of course, a great one. Mr. Lawton's room. I'm talking about bazookas, you fool. And he's, there's nothing. And again, these servants of theirs, again, I don't remember the whole story on them. It's been also, I've actually read the series. But they're very subservient to Scandal. And so, as I said earlier in their synopsis, Scandal's trying to get a hold of Bane, let him know what's going on. And so she said she's going to try something, and then the next panel, something suicidal. And again, since the team is fighting the Suicide Squad, it's kind of fitting. And the two multiplexes are like, wait, did you hear something? It sounded like scratching. And that's when we see the gargoyle creature come busting out like, oh my god, no, please not me. You want those other guys. You want those other guys. As the gargoyle just flies off. And here on the bottom page 6, on the top of page 6, like I said, we see the gargoyle bursting out the multiplexes. And here at the bottom corner of page 6, we see the gargoyle creature with one or two of the multiplexes flying away. He's silhouetted, the gargoyle and the multiplex silhouetted behind the moon, or by the moon. This page in general is just a very nice page. The artwork on this is very nice. Again, I love the multiple, just, oh my god, as the creature comes busting out and his eyes are all glowing and fires crash, around him and the building's on fire. And then Multiplex, being the villain he is just, no, it's not me, you want those other guys. It's just like, don't kill me, please. It's a great page. And back at Belle Rev, again, as I talked about in the synopsis, we get Bane fighting Nightshade. And again, they're pretty equally together. I mean, they're pretty equal here. Again, because she's got her Nightshade powers, and Bane is big and strong, and it's hard to go down. And she says here, you look tough, I get it. You can't beat my shadow form, you can't even hit it. Well, I can hit you anytime And Bane's like, I see you hitting me. Is that what that's supposed to be? It's like, fine. Vertigo, I need a hand here. And I thought Vertigo's power was just to cause disorientation, and you would lose your sense of, balance and Vertigo, basically. But here, and again, I'm going to have to look into this further, because it's been a while since I've read, and we haven't seen much of Count Vertigo other than making people off balance. But here, Bane he's ripping his mask off. He's seeing images of Batman all around him, pointing and laughing at him, maybe. And Bane's just ripping his mask off, screaming. And Nightshade says, it's unfair how your balance and powers are the bravest of men. Virgo's like, he's not afraid. He's enraged. Teleport him and let's get inside. The bottom of the largest lake might be nice. And again, I don't think I comment on this last issue. I'm not a big fan of Nightshade's costume here. It's not horrible. It's just it's a blue, billowy half-dress skirt thing. It's got a big buckle in the middle. I don't know. I'm not a huge fan. I prefer her earlier looks from the Suicide Squad, what I normally talk about. Again, Count Vertigo's in his normal costume. But yeah, I'm just not a huge fan of this version of Nightshade. It's not horrible, it's just not a huge fan of it. And Nightshade tries using her powers, and she realizes that Black Alice has stolen them. And that's where I taught in the synopsis how she pushes Nightshade, a powerless Nightshade, and Count Vertigo through the portal, slamming them both in the wall, knocking them out. And she tells Bane, she's like, I was trying to put them into the wall. And Bane's like, a successful tactic even so. You okay, big man? Not by any standard. It is not a new condition. You did well, little one. And again, this is where we get Nightshade reporting, not Nightshade, Scandal reporting in that the whole thing's a fraud and that they're just trying to get dead shots. And then, like I talked about in synopsis, this next page 10, we're in cell block 23 with a bunch of prisoners, and the Black Lanterns are tearing the guards apart. And again, it's just a very nice page here. Again, it starts out the Black Lanterns tearing the guards apart. The guards like, yeah, go get, or the prisoners like, yeah, go get them. That's how you do it. Give a brother a hand. Yeah, bust us out. And also the Black Lanterns look at the cages and they realize that, there's more souls they can eat. So they rip the doors off, and we don't see anything other than blood come gushing out. Gah, no, gah. So we can tell the Black Lanterns, after killing off the guards, are killing off the other inmates. And again, these are the Black Lanterns that was resurrected at the end of last issue. Psy, Adam Cray. And again, maybe that's Manticore. Again, they don't all have costumes like they used to, so it's kind of hard to tell who they are just by looking at them at this point. But yeah, this is a very nice page. Again, it's not something you want hanging on your wall, but for what it is, deceased zombie superheroes / villains attacking these guards, it's just a very nicely done. And it shows us how the Black Lanterns, when they're looking at people, how they see things. They see things in colors, hatred, anger, fear, and all that in different color spectrums. It's just a very nice layout, the way the page is looking. And then we go to the cover page, basically, where we have Bronze Tiger and Catman fighting. Again, Bronze Tiger has his helmet on for part of it, then he pulls it off as they continue to fight. And again, I like this. Bronze Tiger is a great character. I love Bronze Tiger's, the Suicide Squad characters. In fact, as I've talked about before, I wish they would have included him in the first Suicide Squad movie. We'll see if he shows up in the second one. But yeah, he takes his helmet off, and Catman's like, "What? Why are you smiling, Tiger?" And Bronze Tiger's like, "Oh, guess a mystery, just a mystery, I guess. I'm trying to figure out how a raggy-ass punk like you tagged me 3 times unchallenged." And Catman's like, "Don't you know? You have a defense for every style, Turner. And styles are for blinking idiots." And he jumps on Bronze Tiger and starts fighting him. And again, Catman is a very feral fighter. He bites into Bronze Tiger's shoulder. Apparently he bit him so hard it got to an internal jugular vein. And he's like, you have maybe 5 minutes to get to a doctor. Your call, I couldn't care less. And Bronze Tiger's like, me either. So again, they just start fighting, just beating the crap out of each other. And Bronze Tiger finally takes Catman out, he chokes him out, and then he stands up and he's like, no way, man, it's over. I shall not be moved. And also he just falls against the wall and just collapses with a blood smear where his shoulder, where he's bleeding out. So these both just laying here. Catman's been choked out, and Bronze Tiger's bleeding out from his shoulder. Again, these two, Catman, from my memory, my recollection of Catman, he's kind of a C-rate, B-rate character at best, a Batman villain. But here, like I said, Gail Simone over in Secret 6 has really done something with Catman and brought him more to the forefront. I think that the new 52's kind of ignored Catman. If I remember, I don't think I've seen much of him. I forget if he's in the new 52 Secret 6 or not. I'll have to check and see. But yeah, Catman's he's standing up against Bronze Tiger, who's one of the best fighters in the DC universe. So it shows that this is a very good battle. Catman's a very strong fighter. Because again, both of them took each other out, basically. And then we get back over to Virtuosa fighting against Ragdoll. And she's, playing her violin, making them dance. And she's like, can you see real quick? She's all, dance my funny monkey dance. And Ragdoll's like, I'll dance on your grave, hussy. A little rumba, a bit of fandango, a cha-cha-cha-cha-cha. And again, to me, Ragdoll is very much, he's a comical character, like The Mask or Deadpool. He's very, not third wall breaking or fourth wall breaking, but he is very animated and very, with the quips, and a Spider-Man type character that, he's always got a funny comment. And Virtuoso's like, my name is not Hussy, it is Virtuoso, and it is what I am as well, mistress of the violin, mistress of death. And Jeanette comes up behind her, she's like, if anyone's the mistress of death, child, it is me. The doll is a knowing little degenerate. And Ragdoll's laying there all crumpled. Again, it's very it's an interesting scene. I'm not a big fan of any of these characters. Ragdoll is interesting. I'm not so familiar with Jeanette and Virtuosa, but it was an interesting couple pages here. And then the fiddler shows up, and Virtuosa's a big fan of the original fiddler. That was his inspiration. Again, she's kind of like the fiddler too. He's her inspiration. And I like this. Here at the bottom of the page, the fiddler's like, no, I have another. I have come back to kill you. And Ragdoll jumps on the back of Virtuoso. He's like, no, let me. I want to be the killer. Please, pretty please, 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 please. Jeanette's like, doll, stop playing with the girl and cover your ears. And so Jeanette, it looks like she takes on the abilities of Silver Banshee. Because maybe this is the new Silver Banshee. I'm not quite sure. Again, I haven't read these Secret Six books in years, so I forget how, who her powers or what she is. But yeah, she turns into Silver Banshee here and uses her powers against Fiddler. But again, he's a corpse, so again, it doesn't really affect him. But he starts playing his music, and her eyes start bleeding, and both of them go down. And then here on the next page, page 18. We see Flag dragging Deadshot down the corridor. He's all, don't know why you always have to make things so difficult, Lawton. And he turns around and finds that Jasmine is back. I'd say alive, but back undead. And she shoots Rick Flag a couple of times. Rick says, chest protected. Precaution for me of Deadshot. He's like, I can do headshots. Like, so can I. And again, so they're having a good battle here, and Deadshot, he kind of wakes up and he sees Yasmin there. He's like, hey, I killed you. And she's like, you did. Now I'd like to return the favor. So again, these two are, again, I love the dialogue in this book. So he's like, I killed you. She's like, yeah, you did. Let me return the favor. And then Rick Flag shoots her in the kneecaps, and Deadshot sees Rick still alive, and he's like, hey, I killed you too. I'm going to start getting complex. And again, usually Deadshot, this comes across a little more comical than Deadshot is, but under the circumstances, I do like the way it's written. And again, this is coming from, I don't know which one actually wrote it. Gil Simone and John Ostrander are both credited with it. Again, John Ostrander was the one that brought Deadshot to the forefront and brought Deadshot to some, in my opinion, some popularity. Gave him some backstory and made him more than just a third-rate character. Again, another Batman character. But again, I just love the way these two are, teaming up with each other to battle against this undead Black Lantern. And as I talked about earlier, King Faraday's letting Waller know that they're under attack, not by the Secret Six, but by the Black Lanterns. They look like people they know, but the rings make them work. They're drawing strong emotions, positive or negative. And Green Lantern level energy might wreck the rings. We're short on that. See them, do not engage. And we end with Bane and Black Alice being confronted by our undead. And here we do see Punch in his costume, so we can tell who that Punch is here. We see Adam Cray shrunk down. Again, we'll hear more about Adam Cray over here on the same Task Force X podcast a while down the road. And it ends with the last panel. We see a close-up of King Faraday's mouth saying, "Run, run like hell." And this is the conclusion in Secret 618 in 1 month. So again, this was another great book. I'm enjoying this. I don't remember enjoying Secret 6 as much the first time I read it, but I'm really enjoying it this go around. So this, again, possibly because it's being written by John Ostrander also, but Gail Simone's no slouch. So again, it was another great issue in my opinion. This storyline's, again, I haven't read the storyline in years, but it's shaping up to be really good. But we're going to take a quick break one more time, play some more promos from the show, and we'll be right back with you.
Don't you panic, don't you flake. We'll be back after this break.
Film and Water Podcast, a weekly show about movies old and new, hosted by obsessive movie nerd Rob Kelly and a rotating series of special guests. From sci-fi to horror, dramas to family films, comedies to adventure epics, we watch it all. The Film and Water Podcast is part of the Fire and Water family of podcasts, available weekly at fireandwaterpodcast.blogspot.com and on iTunes and Stitcher.
It was a golden age. Our Martian civilization was at the height of its peace and prosperity.
White Martians came from beneath the planet's surface, bringing fire from the planet's guts, and they burned us all.
So I lost my family. Came to Earth when my civilization was destroyed.
Detective John Jones is what you might call my human alter ego.
I'm not the only thing from outer space that's come, but right now I'm the only thing that can stop alien invasion.
My name is John Jones.
Also known as the Martian Manhunter.
I'm Mars' sole survivor. There's a reason for that.
I will defend Earth. The Idol Head of Diablou podcast available through iTunes, Shout Engine, and the Internet Archive.
Can I get a tall chai?
A large black coffee.
And I suppose you're here with no agenda, as per usual?
On the contrary, I'm here for comics.
I think I can help all of you. Hello, I'm the caffeinated Clinton Robinson, and I host a podcast called Coffee and Comics. On this podcast, I summarize, review, and discuss comic book issues, stories, and related media, usually in the span of time it takes to have a cup of coffee. Sometimes I'm joined by a guest, and sometimes I'm flying solo. So pour the coffee, take a sip, and turn up the volume as you listen to the Coffee and Comics Podcast. Available on iTunes, Stitcher, and directly on coffeeandcomicspodcast.blogspot.com. And remember, this is where the comics are never too old and the coffee is never too cold.
Commercials over, don't you know? Now it's time to watch the show.
And there's some more podcasts for you to check out. They're all part of the JLMay, the Blackest Night crossover. Definitely check them out. And let's go ahead and look at our final issue for this episode. Secret 6, number 18. This was the cover date was April 2010. The on sale date was February the 10th of 2010. Cover price was $2.99. The title of this one was, yes, you guessed it, Dance Macabre Part 3. Writer was Gail Simone and John Ostrander. Artist is still Jim Calafoy. Letterer Travis Lanham. Oh, almost couldn't say that one. Colorist Jason Wright. Editor was Sean Ryan. The cover was done by Daniel Luisi again. And the synopsis got ahead of myself. The This was reprinted, same as the other two. Secret Six Dance Macabre trade paperback in 2010, and in the Secret Six Cat's Cradle trade paperback 2015. Now for the synopsis. Our story starts with the Secret Six and the Suicide Squad fighting the Black Lanterns. As Flag's group flees the risen Fiddler, they gather Bane and Catman and attempt to reconnect with the other team members. Back at the House of Secrets, Waller and Scandal come to an agreement to work together as Black Alice uses Nightshade's power to bring the two teams back to the house. Unfortunately, not being experienced enough, she leaves the portal open and the Black Lanterns follow through. As the two teams fight their undead enemies, Waller knocks Black Alice out so Nightshade can get her powers back, which she then uses to teleport Waller back to Bel Rev. In Amanda's special lab that she's been using to experiment on deceased villains and heroes, the ones that the Suicide Squad and the Six currently fighting, Amanda takes a captured Manhunter android and rejoins the fight. Amanda sets off a couple of light grenades and then explodes the android, letting off the stored Green Lantern energy within, breaking the connection to the Black Lanterns. When the Wall insists that Deadshot return with them, he shoots her, causing the Suicide Squad to retreat with the wounded Wall. In the hospital, Amanda admits to King Faraday that she is Mockingbird, and the Deadshot might be willing to hire on to work with the squad if necessary. And that's all she really wanted. The end. Now, for my thoughts on this. So our cover depicts the Manhunter android, full put on the cover. This is moments before he explodes. His hands are glowing green. It's all beaten and torn up. We get our Blackest Night trade dress along the top, says the Secret Six. And we get Green Lantern G in the background on the top part of the cover. The bottom part of the cover is blue. We get Green Lantern rings, wrong color. Black Lantern rings flying around. Android sparking. Not quite as good as the other two covers, but it's a good cover. Again, it's a little action-packed. It tells us what's going to happen. It's action-packed without being action-y. I don't know. It's an interesting cover. I like it. Again, it's probably the lesser of the three, but still a really good cover. For the story itself, again, this first page, we start out with the Black Lanterns fighting the Secret Six, and here we can tell a little bit more. I can see Revon there. I'm assuming that's the Manticore. We can see a cell here. We get Shrike. There's Adam Cray. Julie. Again, Punch. Again, the zombies are in costume here. They're a little more detailed, I think, for still as zombies. This is on the side just to show how wild and absurd everything is going at this point. And again, while the squad mates and the Secret Six are fighting the Black Lanterns, we get Faraday still over the radio. If you encounter them, do not engage. Run like hell. A little too late, King Faraday. And so they're fighting the zombies. And here on page 2, it looks like, story page 2, we get the Fiddler gets shot in the back. And we get Deadshot and Flag telling Ragdoll, he's like, Deadshot's like, get up and move. You got about 5 seconds before the Fiddler's up and at you again. And Ragdoll's like, excuse me, and I hate to argue with someone who yells so well, but didn't you just remove the back of the crane somewhat just now? And he's like, Deadshot's like, he'll get better fast. Move it, doll. And it's not really commented on. Unlike most zombies, like on The Walking Dead and most other zombie shows, if you take out the zombie's head, it kills them, in quotes. They're already dead, but it re-kills them. That does not appear to be the case here, as again, we saw, I forget her name now, the female Fiddler get her head blown off earlier, half of it blown off, and here apparently, they shot in the back of Fiddler's head, and he still kind of recuperates a little bit and gets up and heals those wounds. So, unlike your traditional zombies, seeing how these are powered by the Black Lantern rings, these zombies do get up after you shoot them in the head. Even double tapping doesn't work. Here on the next page, they walk into where Bronze Tiger and Catman's fighting. And first panel, we just see a close-up of Rick and Jeanette and Deadshot and Ragdoll. And just Rick's like, Jesus, what an ungodly mess. Deadshot, and then we pause further, and we see the tiger head laying over the side. And Catman's laying there. Bronze Tiger's laying there in a pool of his own blood. Deadshot's like, they dead? Kind of calm, aren't you, Lawton? Heard this cat guy is supposed to be your best friend. Probably. So, they dead? Again, very much shows how Floyd is, even though someone that's his friend, in quotes. He doesn't really care a whole lot. So, again, that's very Floyd for you, though. He's not an emotional person, and again, when someone says friend, it's just in quotes. It's not a close friendship, usually, so... And again, I'm going to use this to get back on my soapbox for a moment about the Suicide Squad movie. As I've talked about on Facebook, and I talked about it last month when me and Robert watched the movie and talked about it, this is Deadshot. Again, he's got someone that's supposedly a friend laying there in a pool of his own blood. Deadshot, is he dead? Deadshot doesn't have the concern that they tried to show in that movie with Will Smith. Again, as I commented, if that was actually Deadshot and Waller told him to kill Harley Quinn, she'd be dead. Or there's some other way she would got out of it. But he wouldn't have missed. Because, again, he doesn't have that emotion that they tried to give him. So, again, this is very Deadshot. You know, this is your best friend, probably. So, they dead? And so they put an adhesive patch that kind of helps heal him a little bit, helps Bronze Tiger out. And the Suicide Squad, or the Secret Six, sorry, I'm used to Deadshot being on the Suicide Squad. The Secret Six won't let Rick pet the patch on Catman. Ragdoll's like, you want our trust, Mr. Flag? Trust us on this. Touch him when we show you our unkind sides. So again, as I talked about in the synopsis, they pick up both their teammates to get out of there. But I do like the dialogue and the back and forth between the two teams. And we come back to the House of Secrets. And again, this top here on page 4, we see Amanda Waller, a couple of the multiplexes around her, and the House of Secrets going up flames behind her. And again, she's talking to King Faraday, telling him, you know, she's got some air sporty issues. Turns out the house is a gargoyle for some reason. Turns out the house is a gargoyle for some reason. She's like, how many of your multiplex bodies that thing killed? Multiplex 5, I think. Oh, hell of me. 6. Find it, burn it, don't bother and pay you distractions. Yeah. So I do like Waller's like, I mean, that thing killed 5, 6. Just watch them kill them off one by one. And then we get Scandal just bursting out of the flaming house. Again, it's a nice sound. I like this panel here. Again, it's on page 4 of Scandal. She's come bursting out, got her claws on, her mask over her mouth. Crash! It was a very nice panel, nicely drawn. The fire in the background highlights her. It's just a very nice panel. And again, I like here she lands. She swings her little knife claw things at the multiplexes and just chops off both their heads. She's like, it seems we have a common enemy, Waller. I say we negotiate. And again, I'm assuming both of these multiplexes were clones. I hate for her to kill off the real multiplex that easily. And then we come back to Bell Rev, and the two teams are meeting up, and Deadshot's like, hey, there's our idiots. And again, here on page, again, these pages aren't numbered, so I'm just kind of guesstimating. Page 5, it looks like Floyd shooting one of the zombies attacking Night. She's like, man, I hate Super Goon zombies. And she's like, you hate everyone, Lawton. When Lady's right, she's right. Again, which just goes to, and again, I don't want to keep harping on this, but again, it goes to part of my problem with the Suicide Squad movie. This is Deadshot. He doesn't like anybody except for his kid, but he doesn't like people. It's just who he is. So that's just, that bothers me. Anyways, and I need to look at Secret Six again. Maybe I'll cover it in a future or something. I don't know what I'm going to do yet, but I like Ragdoll here. He's jumping on on the zombie punch, and he's like, "Please don't misunderstand. I quite like your fashion sense. Still, please go back to your filthy dirt hole. There's a good fellow." And he's got his arm wrapped around Punch. And again, if you're not familiar, Punch wears a jester outfit. Ragdoll wears kind of a clownish jester outfit, so that's why he thinks the style is such a good style. But yeah, I like the scene. Yeah, just Ragdoll's got his arms and legs wrapped around Zombie Punch. And Zombie Punch turns around. He's like, disharmony, disorder, delusion, delightful. Ew, do you even know how hard it is to disgust me? And so it looks like Zombie Punch twisted his head around or something to look so his head's facing backwards. And that's why Ragdoll's like, ew, it's hard to disgust me. You did it. It's a great scene. Again, I don't know who's responsible for the dialogue. I'm thinking this may have been Gail, maybe. But I don't know. I could see John doing this too, because John was a great writer when he used to write Squad by himself. So I don't know. I love the dialogue in here. It's just great. And again, I keep reading a lot of the dialogue because he's got some great dialogue. The next scene down, Flag's like, "Don't you people realize these things will just get right back up?" Deadshot's, "Yeah, that's the deal with my new guys. You monster at them, they monster right back." And that's in between that line, we see Jeanette ripping the head off one of the zombies and just chucking the head across the building. And then we get, during this entire battle, we hear, what's his name? Warden Jessup has been telling everybody, go back to your cells, everything under control, there's zombies attacking, blah, blah, blah. And also we get a new thing over the intercom. This is, this is Acting Warden Turner. Warden Jessup something's torn him to pieces. And then we get Fiddler and Virtuosa, that's her name, facing off against the two teams. And Catman's like, "Fiddler, I thought you said you killed him, Lawton." "Yeah, killed her too. Stupid supergoon zombies. Just shove and hit him, will you? His bow touches his fiddle and your brains come out your ears." I like how he keeps referring back to that stupid supergoon zombies. Yep, killed him, killed her. They're back. Just kill him. Come on, fall down already. And he's just filling Virtuosa full of holes. And Kevin's like, "Look, nothing personal, Brown. Deadshot killed you first. I get it. But you stink of the grave, and you got to go." Again, I just love the dialogue here. Here at the bottom, page 7, looks like Adam Cray is fighting Count Vertigo, and Bronze Tiger knocks him off. He's like, "Stop it, Cray. You were teammates with us once. You were the Atom. There must be something deep inside you still remembers." And Cray's like, "Of course there is. I remember everything. I remember how hard you tried washing away your guilt for the murders you committed while brainwashed by the League of Assassins. A pain you still feel that my master wants. Pain that I plan to take." And again, like I said, these aren't ordinary zombies. These guys can actually talk. Again, if you look at it logistically and logically, being dead, being zombified, it seems like some of their throats missing, won't be able to talk. Just go with it. It's the Black Lanterns talking through the bodies. And then when Flag finally gets Black Alice to open up a portal, they start running through, and Ragdoll again is like, "Madam, if you can't run, make room for one who can." And it's like, such a gentleman. Again, it just shows how well this team works or doesn't work together. And then here at the next page 9, after the squad mates and the squad and the Secret Six run through the portal, it's left open. So I love this scene here of the zombified villains chasing after our heroes. I say heroes in quotes. And then when the team gets out back at the House of Secrets, Bane's first he's like, "Mrs. Waller, you have burned our house. You have threatened my teammate." And the way he paused there is like he's not quite sure how to refer to Scandal. I think he wants to refer to her as a daughter. And again, I love Amanda Waller. She just stands up to Bane. This guy that's broke Batman's back. And she's like, back off, Bane. You know this pen works. Another step and I'll click it and blow the back of your head off that chip we installed you when you worked for us. And again, here at the top of page 11, Nightshade's admonishing Black Alice. He's like, you girl, Black Alice, or whatever your name is, are you crazy or just stupid? Close the portal for those Black Lanterns follow us like we followed you. And she says that something was sucking the energy out of her, so she can't close it. And that's when we get our Black Lanterns. Again, it's another almost poster-worthy scene of the villains coming through the portal. Just ready to attack the squad. Just a great page of these monstrous undead supervillains coming through this portal. And here at the bottom of the page, Amanda's like, ugh, there's a whole mess of ugly. So, we combine forces or do we die like chumps? And Bane's like, allies for the moment. Then we discuss craniums and who does what to them. And again, here on, it's a splash page. It looks like page 12 and 13, it looks like. It's a huge page. On one side, we get the Black Lanterns. On the other side, we get the Suicide Squad and the Secret Six. Background, we got the House of Secrets just ablaze all around them. It's just a great page here. I just love this. Again, there's a bunch of little insets of dialogue going on between some of the people. I'm debating whether maybe pull the little inserts out and leave it just the one panel. I think it would be a great poster. That'd be a fantastic Suicide Squad Secret Six poster, I think. And Scandal. So some of these little end panels where people's talking, Scandal's like, what in the world are these horrid things? And Amanda's like, those are Black Lanterns. You'd know that if you worked for me. Excuse me a moment while I go fix this. And then we get Rick Flag telling Eve, Nightshade, he's like, get behind me, Eve. Titchlight's like, oh yeah, that's going to help. What's another one here? Catman and Bronze Tiger's punching one of the zombies, and Catman's like, I took Batman once, you know. Bronze Tiger's like, sure you did. Hey, tell yourself that, buddy boy. And the last one on here, it's Ragdoll fighting Adam Cray. Again, been trying to avoid it because it's going to be a spoiler for upcoming book, but I mentioned earlier in the dialogue, Adam Cray was the Atom at one point when he worked for the Suicide Squad. So Ragdoll's like, it's the all-dead Atom. He's the flying fetus of doom. I just love Ragdoll and his quips, and again, a very Spider-Man-like, but very demented version of Spider-Man. A great character. And again, I don't want to move from this page because it's a great page. The house framing in the background just burning with the heroes and again, I call them heroes. The heroes for us and the villains. Magnificent page. And then again, I talked about this earlier about the synopsis of what happened here. Amanda Waller punches out Black Alice because she can't get the powers back. She doesn't want to, and she can't use the powers properly. And so she knocks out Black Alice, and Eve's like, she's just a kid, Amanda. Amanda's like, she's going to be a dead kid if I don't get back to Bel immediately. With her out, your power should be in. Get the hell out of here. Get us the hell out of here now, girl. And again, like I've talked about before, Amanda Waller's not a villain like a lot of people like to claim she is. She does what needs to be done, but again, she's not a villain. She just does a difficult job that most people don't want to do. And that's where a lot of people don't understand about Amanda Waller. Again, I talked about she's got a helmet that allows her to control the robots. And again, we get Multiplex facing off against Yasmin here. And Yasmin pulling a gun on. We're like, wait, we're on the same side. We're on the same. And she just says, blam, blam, blam. No, now we're on the same side. And so I believe this may be the real Multiplex she just killed to come back as a Black Lantern. I'm assuming. I'm not sure offhand. And the next page over, we get the gargoyle attacking Catman, grabbing his arm. He's like, not me, you idiot. The dead guys. The dead guys. And then here at the bottom of the page, we get the fiddler. He's like, you think I'm angry that you killed me, Deadshot? That's not what this is about. We are not zombies. The power of death. It's a sympathy. Join me. It's wonderful. And again, Virtuosa fiddles off against the fiddler.
Fire on the mountain, run, boys, run. The devil's in the house of the rising sun. Chicken in the bread pan, picking out dough. Granny says your dog bite, no child knows.
Sorry, dealing with death and fiddlers going off against one another, I couldn't resist putting that song in there, or that little bit. Anyway, so they fiddle off against one another, and as they're talking, she's like, I'm sorry I have to do this to you, Mr. Brown, or Bowen. You know what, I'm a fan of your music. I may not be able to play it as well as you, but I can certainly play louder. And then here on the bottom of page 16, Amanda shows up with the Manhunter robot, and she's like, let me see. She's stepping on the fiddler's head, and the fiddler's like, you think you win, Banshee? You more than anyone should know, death always wins. And Amanda's like, maybe, but this is the land of the living, and you sorry son of bitches are trespassing. And again, we get Amanda Waller standing with her helmet on, and the Manhunter robot standing behind her. Just a great scene, just Amanda Waller arriving what she does in the nick of time to save the day. Because again, I love Amanda Waller. And like I say, she throws the grenades. And then here at the bottom of the next page, page 17, she sets the Green Lantern, or the Manhunter robot off. It explodes in a fury of green energy. And then we get the ring saying, connection severed. As the ring just explodes. And here on the next page, we get all the zombies going to dust. And so, as I said earlier, that all zombies have their weakness. Most of them, if you destroy the brain or the head, that destroys the zombies. In this fictional universe with the Black Lantern rings, if you have a powerful enough of a light light source, it can disrupt the connection to the Black Lantern ring, and that's what destroys zombies, as we see here. It's just another great page, great artwork of the zombies just turning into dust and just floating away. It's fantastic. And again, here at the top of the next page, Amanda's like, well, y'all look like crap. The night's still young. I haven't even used yet. Time to choose, 6. And again, they all choose to stand together. Bane's like, between your control and death, we choose death. And Kevin's like, we all do. And Ragdoll's like, it seems a bit hasty, really. This Kevin's like, go screw yourself, Waller. You're not welcome here. And like I thought about the synopsis, she's like, you ain't worth the headache. You coming on where you belong? And he's like, about that. I am where I belong, Waller. And he shoots her right in the chest. As he thinks she's dead, she falls down. And again, here at the top, we get the fire. The house of secrets on fire in the background. Waller's falling. Bronze Tiger's rushing to her aid. Multiplex. Looks like multiplex. That means that wasn't the real multiplex that was killed earlier. Good. And Flag is holding a gun at Deadshot, and Deadshot's like, be honest. Plenty of you have been wanting to do something like that for yourselves. And I'd order a bullet for what she pulled with me. And so Bronze Tiger tells her she's still alive, just barely. So again, as I talked about, they had to rush off to get her help. And again, Deadshot gives his ultimatum. Waller comes at us again. I shoot her in the head. I see any of you approaching any of us, I shoot you in the head. No further warning. Just dead. And again, so as they retreat again here, another great scene of the Secret Six standing in front of the burning building. And Black Alice, a little nut job maybe, a little crazy. They're smiling, staring at the burning building. And then at the last page, we get a week later, we're at Belle Rev. King Faraday's tired. He's like, doctors say you'll live. Personally, I've had down organs. And Waller's like, no, a lot of places it's shot. Well, it's too close to mark to operate. Man knows how to place his shots. Gotta give him that. And this is where we find out that she's actually Mockingbird. And I like this little dialogue here. King Faraday's like, let me get this straight. You are Mockingbird, and you try to take out the Secret Six. Amanda, does your left hand even know what your right hand is doing? And she's like, oh no, need to know basis, King. It's a great closing line. I love that. It's fantastic. Again, this is a great story. I'm glad I got to cover this one. It was just fantastic. But that's the end of the storyline, but not the end of The Blackest Night. It continues on. Like I said previously, for more on this, there's other podcasts to check out. Definitely listen to the Starman Manhunter Adventure Hour, where we're looking at the Starman issue, I think it's 81. That should be out this week also. And then come next week and check out Head Speaks for Blackest Night number 4. And then once you're done with that, look for Look for the Coffee and Comics podcast by a friend of the show, Clinton Robinson. He's looking at Blackest Night number 5, the Longbox Crusade, my buddies Pat and Jared, Jason and Delvin. A couple of those guys over my G.I. Joe podcast, I'm sure you guys listen to. They're looking at Blackest Night number 6. And then the Lantern Cast is looking at Blackest Night 7 and 8, plus Green Lantern number 52. And as I talked about a bit earlier, check out also, like I say, Waiting for Doom. They're looking at the Doom Patrol issues. Justice First Dawn is possibly looking at the Just League issues. And Coffee and Comics, that I mentioned earlier, looking at Blackest Night 5. They're also looking at the Adventure Comic issues and Untold Tales of the Blackest Night. But that's going to do it for this month. So, like I say, once you're done listening to me talk here, go and zoom over to the the Starman Manhunter Adventure Hour. Pick up the story over there and listen to all the great shows. I will try to have on the blog and all my pages an order or something where you can find all these. Be sure to check it out. But that'll do it for this month. Next month, hopefully unless something else comes up, we will be back to our regularly scheduled program. Back looking at Suicide Squad and the Checkmate. But until then, thanks for listening. We'll see you guys next month. Squad mates, dismissed.
Thank you for listening to another great episode of Task Force X. I can also be found rambling on my main headcast of Head Speaks, where I rant and rave about movies, comics, geek stuff, and whatever is bugging me.
Mate, you just out-crazied the Joker.
Well, I tried, Boomer, but anyways, my home on the internet is at headspeaks.com. HEADSPEAKS.com. Links to my blog, which contain follow-up information to this and every headcast, can be found there. Both Task Force X and Headspeaks are on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, and at headspeaks.com under Headcasts. Please feel free to email me any questions, comments, or concerns to taskforcex@headspeaks.com. And if you want to record a message, you can send it to me at taskforcex@headspeaks.com, and I'll play it on the air. I'm also on Facebook at Task Force X, and also on Google+, you can look for Task Force X under People and Pages. All titles and characters discussed are owned and copyrighted by DC Comics. I claim no ownership to the Suicide Squad, Checkmate, or Task Force X. I'm just a big fan wanting to spread the Task Force X love with everyone else. DC Comics can be found on the web at dccomics.com. be sure to visit your local comic shop and look for Suicide Squad and Checkmate Comics. And while you're there, see what else they have that may interest you.
Mother...
Well, make sure you join us here next time for another fun-filled headcast from your friendly neighborhood Brotherhead. In the meantime, I'll see you in the funny pages.